The discussion is on advertising trends on short video platforms, where the short video players will help us understand the monetizable assets and monetization strategies being deployed by short video players. I'd like to call on stage our moderator, Shainik Gandhi, founder and CEO, White Rivers Media. Joining him will be Avinash Joshi, Chief Operating Officer, Natter, Bimal Karthik Reba, co-founder and Chief Operating Officer, Trell, Devika Sharma, Director Sales, Glance and Reposo, Inmobi, Shivank Agarwal, co-founder and CEO, Mitro TV, and Virajit Singh, Senior Vice President and Head Revenue, MX Player. So I'll leave the stage to you.
Super. So thank you, Varun. Thank you, Bijoya. Thank you, Sudhir, for getting us all together. Artically, Digix is one of the award ceremony and event we all look forward to every year. Thank you for raising the bar every year. Coming to the panel, I think this forum represents majority of short form video players in the spectrum, and be it Atmanirbhar or an India Ka app, founded by Shivank Mitro. There are apps which are backed by media giants like Times. Virajit is here representing MX Player. We've got Roposo, who have enjoyed investments from the likes of Google. We've got Trail over here, Bimal, fondly called as India's answer to Pinterest. Avinash, who represents a new age marketing agency. So I think it's a fantastic panel, and I'm glad to be having an engaging conversation with all of you. The format of the panel discussion is pretty simple. There'll be individual questions for all of you. There'll be 5 simple questions, which are customized basis your business model, followed by 3 open-ended questions, which can be answered by one and all. And there can be discussions on that, and which will be followed by a rapid fire round. And if time permits, we'll be happy to have audience interaction as well, right? So let's get started. So the first question is for Viraj, MX Player. So content consumption in the country is growing faster than the global growth. Short form has emerged as a breakout category in the cluttered content space. This need for instant fun micro entertainment, as created by TikTok, has been successfully fulfilled by all of you, right? So the first 2 questions, Viraj, what's your differentiation strategy, right? And how are you ensuring user and creator satisfaction amongst us?
So MX Takatak is our short video app platform under our group. To start with, I mean, obviously it's still been a very short journey for, I think, most of us on the platform. But to start with, obviously it was the opportunity for us to push out a really good product. And I think MX takes pride in our ability to be able to build great products and our tech capabilities, etc. So I think that was the first thing that we did about 6-8 months ago when we launched. And that's hygiene for everyone, right? I think the first 5 or 6 months was more to do with getting an understanding of what was happening, driving market share, etc. But there's a full focus now that we've got in terms of what is it that we want to anchor ourselves to be, and what is it that we offer the 3 key stakeholders that we have, right? So the consumer, the creator, and the advertiser. So, just to start with, talk to you a little bit about, what is it that we do for consumers. Obviously, like I said, product experience is at the helm of everything. And we've got, I think, tech that is able to offer that. But more importantly, we've looked at what is it that we're bringing to the table when it comes to content as a piece, right? And while short video app largely has been, this UGC short video generation of content and consumption of content, we're sort of building on that. And you may have seen some of that stuff, but to be honest, I think the depth of understanding that we have in terms of content consumption and creation from MX Player, which is a long form platform, has been of great value to us. So one, we're going to be creating IPs. We've already created IPs, and those are for us extremely important, because it's going to be our first pieces of actual produced content for the short form video app. Fame House and Home were the two things that we've launched, and I can talk a little more about that. But more importantly, that's what we want to be able to grow into, right? Creating content that is produced specifically for the audiences in the format that they want to consume on short form. The other is the pillars in which UGC and content is being. So sports is hugely big for us and for everyone. And as of yesterday, I think we announced our partnership with 7 of the 8 IPL teams. And what we are able to do is actually generate really good content out of the players behind the scene, fun stuff that they're doing, their ability to be able to engage with our consumers, which is something that they're not going to be able to get on any of the other platforms, because you're actually getting their superstars to be able to engage with them, whether it's live or through short form content creating handles. And therefore we want, we've identified 5 or 6 key pillars where we want to drive leadership in being able to even create UGC or associated partnerships. So that could be movie, music, dance, and so on and so forth. So that's a little bit on the consumer front. I think when it comes to creators, all of us have obviously chased big influencers and spent large sums of money to be able to get the best, because unless you have good creators, you're not going to get great content. But they go beyond that, right? And while tools are hygiene and today they are in demand of talking to platforms like all of us, saying what is it that they require in terms of tools from a platform, depending on what stage of influencing they've been at. Monetization opportunities and growth in fame is extremely important for them, right? So we've looked at both, and again, what we've looked at is how do we build this, or sort of fulfill the aspirations of these influencers, and that's where the co-produced content sort of comes in. We've looked at it from 2 perspectives. One is being able to leverage both platforms, so using our influencers to be able to create content not just for MX Takatak, but building them for the long form as well, which is what resides on MX Player. So Fame House was a sort of a reality show that we launched a couple of months ago. And while the snippets of it were hosted on MX Takatak, we actually built content for the other side. And that resonated with these guys for their one big thing, right? Growth in fame. More importantly, we were able to push a large user base that probably didn't understand what short form content was with this produced content back from MX Player to MX Takatak. And this is, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff like that. When it comes to advertisers, obviously, ad tech capabilities, scale of users, we are close to about 150 million monthly active users. The innovation that we're able to offer, commerce eventually, are all that we do. We started pushing out hashtag challenges that worked well for, again, all 3 of our stakeholders early in October and November. So an advertiser was able to engage with my consumer. The consumer was getting interesting content and a platform to be able to create good UGC. And obviously the creators were the ones who were helping us, front that entire thing of hashtag challenges. But we've got a whole host of advertising, opportunities that sort of befit the entire funnel of marketing, which we can bring to the table.
Very interesting. Very well put answer. While you spoke about 3 key stakeholders, consumer, creator, and advertiser, and I like how you put consumer as rank 1 and creator as rank 2. But I think 3 keywords which I take home with this answer are especially for creators are growth, fame, and aspiration, right? I think that these are the 3 keywords which is driving a lot of creator economy, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. So I think that brings me to my next question for Shivank. What's the localization strategy? You are fondly called as Deshka app. Mitro has seen a lot of success, right? And you, of course, follow the Prime Minister's vision of being an Atmanirbhar app. I'm very interested to know your localization strategy, especially tier 2 and tier 3.
Thanks, Shanik. Yes, we betted on Atmanirbhar and Make in India. For Make in India, we always felt that the creators and consumer ecosystem is in India. We don't need a third-party platform outside of India. So of course, that trend is taken by other players, and of course, that ecosystem is built, and we are very happy about it. For us, localization and getting to different corners of the country becomes very important, and that we realized during early days of a launch. And when we see the users coming on the platform has been on different corners of the country, started in metro cities, but quickly scaled up to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. For that, localization becomes very important. And when we talk about being vernacular or getting localized, many of us tend to make mistake, especially the foreign counterparts, wherein they think about only the language as being a factor of localization. But we feel language is just a very small factor. When we talk about localization, it actually means a lot, like occupation of the people, customs, the festivals, the music, right? And for example, if we talk about music, we have in-house music production, and we are creating music for different regions and genres. For example, in Maharashtra, we have Koli, Lavani as some of the pop culture music. Then in Bengal, we have Ball and Patiali. So that becomes very important for us, and we have partnered with different music production. For example, Ghana, Spotify, where we keep on publishing this content around localization. Then, when we talk about occupation, for example, is wooden architecture and the carpentry, which is respectively in Kashmir and Saharanpur. Then we have in Gujarat like diamond and mirror work. So we felt that a lot of importance should be given wherein local content is being showcased to people in that region. And then we found that when we showcase, for example, we started fishing in Bengal, and we found that when we focus on the local content, people tend to become more loyal to the application. So that's a trend that we saw very early on, and we started working very actively on that. Now in festivals, customs, you can see n number of examples wherein a lot of content can be customized for a given region, and we are very bullish about it. And yes, when we talk about India, it's actually the regional or the different corners of the country that forms a real India.
Very interesting. I think a very interesting take on localization. A lot of marketeers make this mistake of assuming localization to be, localizing language. Good to see you guys customizing it, to the T and to various micro geography. So kudos on that. Um, Speaking of marketeers, I think maximizing ROI remains to be top of mind. Top of mind for most of the Indian marketeers, which is followed by driving sales, which is followed by brand positioning, right? Especially in post-COVID scenario, brand positioning takes rank 3, right? So keeping this preference of effectiveness for marketers, I think I'll direct this question to Bimal first, and then I'll go to Avinash. Does your growth strategy take into account facilitating social commerce? Uh, what potential do you think short form content holds for social commerce? We've seen recently in China, an influencer raked in 300 million worth of sales in a single day, a sales figure which most malls cannot afford in the whole year, right? This influencer kind of got it in a single day. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, interesting question there, Shrenik. It's not even most malls, most platforms in India currently can't afford that scale. But what we see is, 5 to 7 years down the lane, this would also start being a common phenomena where influencer-led, purchases or commerce, right, would become a need of the hour and also the common way of shopping for users in India. So, to put, so the question has, various pillars to it, right? So let me break it down, right? One, I'll talk about the first thing I'll talk about evolution of social commerce to give a context. Second, I'll talk about where we are as well. And third, we'll talk about why social commerce, right, in India at this point of time. The first thing, if we talk about social commerce, right, evolution of commerce, right? So typically you would see this happening in um, every country that takes price and value as a key indicator or index before they purchase, and where price takes more precedence than convenience, right? So that means people would want to understand more about a product in the language that they understand the most, in a uh, uh, let's say in the videos that they can consume easily, right? Through people that they trust the most. So if you look at the evolution of e-commerce in China too, right? It started from a horizontal commerce model, then went to more verticalized format model, like what happened in India, right? You started with Flipkart and Amazon, and slowly you moved into the FirstCries and Big Baskets to allow for more verticalized purchasing or discovery of those products. Then soon, eventually, what happens, right? You would see that for consumption upgraders categories, people would want to have more understanding of the product, right? Even before they purchase. So that means they want to not only understand the product through videos that they consume the most as of today, but from sources that they can trust before they purchase and in the language that they understand the most. So that's where we are, right? So we are at the cusp of an inflection point where more and more users would be coming online and start becoming online shoppers. Now, why I'd say that is the potential is immense, right? If you see today, 2 of the 3 internet users that are already online are still non-shoppers. And if you look at the majority in a KPMG survey that was done, right, in year 2017 and 18, not updated yet, but they would talk about, one of the primary reasons for these users not becoming online shoppers is because the product descriptions are in English, right? And the influencers are creating videos in English as a language, right? By allowing for mere localization of this content, helping people to discover products and services in their own language through the influencers that can speak their language and then they trust, we would be involving a lot of people into this internet economy, right? By helping them to transact online. So that's the nature and course and evolution of social commerce in India. And we are at an inflection point when it comes to social commerce. In fact, as we speak, right, it is going to be 12% of total e-commerce market in India in the next 3 years. Now, that's a conservative estimate that everyone who's operating in this space has in terms of what the total addressable market can be and how many users would want to come online to engage in this purchase or transactions. Now, coming to Trell, why social commerce? For us, we never intended to start as a platform that would have social commerce as a primary business model. But for us, it organically happened. The reason is we call ourselves a lifestyle video app, right? If you look at one of the common established phenomena is that everyone today is consuming videos in a verticalized format, mobile first. Now that's an established phenomenon. But the way we are using this medium is to mostly have the lifestyle information organized for Indian users in their own languages. Now, with this, what happened is we invested a lot into developing this KOL ecosystem, where they not only become a presenter before the camera, but also have subject matter expertise when it comes to educating the users about various interest categories such as beauty, fashion, DIY, home decor, etc. Now, what happened because of this, right? Soon as people started engaging with this interest, it also became a mode and medium for influencers to introduce products and services to the end users, right? To complete that loop. And that's how social commerce started happening on Trell. It was an organically established phenomena, right? Today, the most consumed categories on Trell, we do not have entertainment as number one. We have beauty, fashion as top 1 and 2 categories on the platform. And hence, if you see today, people can purchase these products on the platform. And that's how it has naturally progressed for us in terms of social commerce as a direction.
Very nice, very nice. Again, I'm taking home a few keywords. Trust, I think trust leads to buying. Even Shivank mentioned it somewhere where he mentioned that localization leads to loyalty. So in this clutter, I think if for the audience, if there are some learnings, I would say trust, loyalty of the audience, right? If we can take home that, or if we can, create that via content, via creators, I think we are home, right? So that brings me to the next question for Avinash. How do you marry trust, loyalty with innovation across, bottom of the funnel traffic?
Yeah, so let me first start off with congratulating my fellow panelists. Some wonderful, stuff is being done on the content side. Short video formats are a rage. We all know that. Some of the things that they've shared is really very interesting. And when you talked about trust, loyalty, and that's how we play the game. So trust and loyalty figure out into the purchase funnel these days very importantly. Right. So at Natter, how we started out things was, it is not about the IDA funnel anymore. So we are having a hybrid funnels whereby, we put a loop funnel and an hourglass funnel and everything coming together. And there are loops of trust and loyalty that, you know, are very important during the, you know, maybe bottom of the funnel or while the purchase is actually happening. Yeah, and this mainly happens because of what our consumers are looking out for. Yeah, and if we are able to dissect, because, you know, some of the apps here are more targeted towards tier 2, tier 3, and short video formats are actually very, you know, growing very fast in that area. So we have, you know, sliced our teams between rural and urban. You know, if you look at the funnels and how things are moving and how short video formats are helping us, you know, create communication and plans for our brands is, you know, once you understand what the brand objective is and what the audience is asking for and how they behave, and like Shranik also said, it's very important to get localized. And when you say localized, it's about understanding what their cultures are about, what their habits are, what are they looking out for, whether it's a question that you need to answer to them, or there is a value proposition that, you know, solves a pain point for them. Yeah, so which is very important. So, like, you know, we keep on doing a lot of studies, and we have quarterly studies that we do to understand, and this is something that we do before any campaign is being launched. And, you know, short media formats or otherwise any media properties that we take up are more part of our marketing plans than, you know, being part of our media plans, especially when there is a content and communication that comes forth. Yeah, you know, the reach is something that the platforms will give us, but the communication and the formats that we create are supposed to create trust, loyalty, that, you know, able to create an advocacy loop also after that, you know. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, you know, anywhere in India, I am looking out to buy an AC. You know, these days, while we see, we've been talking for ages that, you know, it's no more linear, and it's all haphazard. Consumers go in all directions before buying any product. You know, so the consideration, awareness and purchase stages within a funnel are happening all at the same point. And that's why we follow something like an hourglass, whereby I might not want to get into the awareness stage. I might just get into an education and engagement stage, or, you know, giving out justification. If I'm able to identify the problem and I have an answer as a solution to that, then I might just enter directly into the bottom funnel. You know, that's where what intent-based and Google helps. And we did researches, like I said earlier. You know, typically what people do is, if I want to find out where I can buy something or what I need to buy, I would go to a Google search. You know, it's becoming more apparent when people want to know how and, you know, why, they turn to a video platform like a YouTube, right? So depending upon what the brand is looking out for and what are the end objectives that you're planning to meet, and obviously what your audience is looking at, you know, we always try to go as local as possible. I would want to, you know, it's obviously there are ways of doing talking to an audience in totality or talking to one-on-one. So we use a lot of conversational marketing. We use WhatsApp to the fore. We work with a lot of influencers, just like these folks have so many influencers on board. And what we've seen is, if we go localized, if we are able to identify who answers to a problem that people are looking out for in the bottom part of the funnel, when the intent is already there, you just have to make sure that, you know, you're beating the competition, because the answer of the solution is already there. But whether I buy from brand A or B is something, you know, the question remains. And if we're able to use short video formats, conversational marketing like WhatsApp messaging or otherwise, you know, we've done OBDs, IVRs, all of that. But if I'm able to answer who's delivering the most on that front, it actually helps. Yeah, and the conversions are very fast. We've seen, you know, click-through rates and conversion rates as high as 7 to 8% through a very low-cost medium like a conversational, you know, campaign that we did using banners and WhatsApp for business and everything through just WhatsApp. You know, and these videos actually help. Now, coming back to the platforms that we were talking about, while there are a lot of people creating content, you know, the story piece at times goes missing. Yeah. So if I'm going just like mass media and I want to bombard people with a message from the brand, it works. But if I'm able to go niche, catch hold of the right media vehicles, the right driver driving those media vehicles, then I can, take my consumer to the brand that I'm working for. Yeah. So that's how we work. So it's capturing them on micro moments, whether it's the fitting in, going and working with them within the loop that they're in, and a lot of times what we also stress on is the loyalty loop, which was part of the question, because one way is I target the 90% of the customers. If I have a lot of budget, I can do that, and that's how I will have to replenish my top funnel as well. But if you are able to target those 10 people who are already looking out for, that 10 becomes 15 and a 20, and also aids more people coming into the top funnel.
Right. Pretty interesting. Let us move forward to Devika. Devika, I remember seeing an interview of Mayank, your CEO, where he had mentioned that right now the priority remains making the platform clean, and AI will be playing a very important role in the same. Of course, AI and ML are considered as secret sources, when it comes to success of these short form apps. So my simple question to you is, what next on your tech stack?
So to answer that question, Shrenik, let me give you a little bit more context, right? And we've heard from everybody on the panel today. And currently where we're at, the short video space in the country is still evolving, right? We're all gunning for market share with more users, better influencers, content diversity, and now trying to evolve into models of social commerce. So I think the way we look at it is that there is the need to establish a very clear-cut value proposition, because even if we are able to win the race today, there is the need to keep users engaged on a medium to long-term basis. And we believe that the answer to that is a format called Live, which is done very, very well internationally. And the key benefit that Live brings to the table is the fact that it creates a lot of sources for very rich, for very diverse, very relevant, recent, fresh pieces of content, which is what keep users coming back for more and more and more. And you spoke about China as an example, and in the same market there are 526 million users of live streamers. And live streaming is not just about social commerce or e-commerce, it's about entertainment, it's about education, and as a format it lends itself to a great deal of diverse content led applications. So our focus in terms of the tech stack is actually twofold. There is the here and now focus that we have, which AI/ML of course plays a huge role in, because it drives content recommendation, which is key to user retention. It is key to creator discovery. It is key to promoting diversity in content. And so AI/ML is a continued focus area for us, and that we keep working on. The other focal part of our tech stack as of today is to drive synergies between Glance and Roposo. Given that Glance is a lock screen platform, it lends itself very, very beautifully to the kind of content we're able to create through Roposo, and we're actually looking at the entire stack in a very unified way. So that's the short-term focus, but in the long term, we're also working extensively on introducing the format of Live and how we make that successful.
Very nice, very nice. I think a lot of interesting work is happening across the category, and I'm grabbing my popcorns and I'm just waiting to see what's in store in the next few quarters in the category. And I assure all the audiences right now and anyone who's going to see this video in future, this category is a category of future, and there will be a lot of innovations, and for sure the world is watching India. So I'm personally looking forward to a lot of innovations from all of you. Now, specifically speaking about a particular thing which I'm sure is in minds of everyone who is a mature social media audience, the whole aspect of no feature being sacred for a social network, right? Snapchat debuted with stories format, which inspired Instagram, and now is a feature across all platforms, be it LinkedIn, be it Twitter in their own format, and now even YouTube. Everything from hashtags to usernames started in one place and eventually became a common practice. And now with Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat Spotlight, like I said, no feature is sacred to a social network. What are your thoughts? This is an open-ended question for anyone in the panel. What are your thoughts? And do you think this is a good practice? You think there might be pure platform-driven innovations in future which cannot be copied or inspired from?
I'll start with that. So, it's very interesting, and they pointed this out. So in fact, just not the features, but if you look at it, a lot of content is also the same. If you do a quick research for a brand you're working for, you're trying to identify an influencer, you'll still see a lot of TikTok watermark videos floating on other platforms. It's almost the same people, let's say 15,000 of them for argument's sake, which is just to put a number, are there everywhere. And they are just replicating the same pieces of content across platforms. While I understand from their perspective, they're trying to create a following for themselves, just to look out that tomorrow some brand will reach out and they're going to get some good, money coming in. But yes, somewhere these platforms will have to innovate to something different, if not feature-wise, because you can always ape any feature with minute differentiation. But the kind of content that is enabled on top of that, that should be the differentiator. Because if I am able to gratify somebody for creating different sort of content only from my platform, and I believe that gratification cannot be money, because that will be again replicated. If I'm able to, like TikTok did, right? It gave everything to a person to just come and show his face. You had the audio, you had the graphics, you had everything. So it made it very easier, and that's how it picked up like crazy. And there was no competition at that point of time. But features would be ape, but somehow if somebody managed to get the content differentiated, that would work. And obviously the content pegs, if you're able to educate and do different stuff apart from just consume content as entertainment, maybe that works.
I just like to add to that what Avinash said, and that content is very, very clearly a differentiator. But I think while features, etc., can be replicated across platforms, it's important to see how do those features tie back into the purpose that you're actually creating for your users. And if the two don't marry, then features are frankly pointless. And I think the clear differentiation will come from the how you're able to create value for your users on the basis of what fundamentally your purpose is, and therefore what your core value prop is.
Interesting.
So I think just to say that they're like, anyways, in this discussion that we have, right? So there are 2 points to it, right? One, you're talking about the format, and the second, you're talking about distribution. See, format video that took 40 years to evolve, color TV 20. Your stories that Snap has started with took 6 years, and short videos it just took 3 years. That every platform has short videos today, right? If you look at the rate of innovation of the formats, pretty sure that in the next 1.5 years you'll be having one more platform that would be innovating on this format, and other players who are kings of distribution, using that particular format for their own advantage. Today, short videos are their own Netflix. I mean, if you can open the Netflix app, you would see Netflix using short videos to promote their own content. Why not? It's not wrong, right? It's about how the attention spans are really small. Today, you either go into long form content, you switch onto an OTT, and if you have really short time, you would want to engage with snackable content, right? Today, we are sitting at a attention span less than of a goldfish, right? As humans today, that's where we have evolved to. So the formats also have to evolve to educate, inform people about various services, products, content, right? And platforms can use it. And this is going to be a phenomena that's going to happen. And there's nothing right or wrong. It's just about platform, how they want to use it.
Very interesting. Interesting. Speaking about attention span, I think in my limited attention span, one campaign which is top of mind recall for me right now is the Dettol hand wash challenge. I think it was a sleeper hit when when we speak about interesting campaigns done in the last year or the year before. I'll be happy to know your thoughts. What is your favorite campaign which has gone live and created the right noise? starting Viraj?
So if I just look at, I mean, may not be on our platform, but I'm just looking at it from perspective of globally relevant content, and similar lines of what you guys just said about Racket. There was a Safe Hands challenge that was done globally, and Priyanka was a big part of it. It was in line with WHO to try and actually educate the importance of washing our hands in the times of COVID, right? Using celebrities to be able to push to an audience that the basic importance of spending 20 seconds and how to wash your hands. I think that worked really well. It was topical. It was important during that time, using the right people, which is a Priyanka as a representation around the world. I think worked well for the message that needed to be sent.
Yeah, interesting. What else? Favorite campaigns? Shivank, Bimal, Devika, Avinash?
For me, there would be more than a couple. It depends. Just related to short video formats. Like YouTube started with their 5-seconders, right? The pre-rolls. So stuff like what Horlicks did, right? So why they are, agencies are from the creative side coming in. Within 4 seconds, they could actually marry the product, the brand, the value, and tell you a story that, before that ad, you were able to skip, you have Horlicks in the milk. And then, Audi doing 0 to 100 before you can skip. Stuff like that. Then there are other campaigns like what Oyo happened. We talked about loyalty and trust and everything coming up. If you remember about Oyo started, putting pretty faces, and people started commenting the way they do. I get amazed when I even watch news live and people are abusing doing stuff. So they also got trolled and they said, will this girl accompany the room that you are trying to ask me to book? And they went back and they did a full ATL campaign, talking about that, and they turned the tide. So stuff like that. So I'm saying, and answering to our earlier question also, if I'm able to create a story within that short video of 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds, and for these platforms and talking for the brands as well, they will pick up the platform, they will pick up the influencer, because there is a story, somehow I'm able to, because, every movie, every book that you read, you leave people with reference points. If I tell you, Sholay, kitne aadmi the, right? So I will not tell you the whole story. I'll say kitne aadmi the, and both of us know that we know everything, right? Yeah. So, not talking about one of the brands that are service, but, there are lines, so that you remember. And once that happens, your brand top funnel is already there, and then it's easier to target the rest.
Interesting.
So one thing, I mean, this is a very important topic that you have touched upon. I mean, campaign becomes a very important thing, not only for the brands, but of course the NGOs and the government organizations to send across the message. So I just give you the one example that Mitro launched one campaign which was on breast cancer awareness program in association with EncoStem. So overall, the idea was to make people aware of do's and don'ts, but in a very innovative manner, and people participate in that. And same goes with brands. So what I could see is the future for the brands lies not only on plain text or video, advertisement, but more around creator or influencer-led campaigns, wherein multiple influencers come together to share the brand message across. So that's the future, I think, would be for everybody.
Interesting. Again, one question which I'm very excited to know answers of. So I'm sure you guys have been following news. Last week, there was a conversation about Twitter offering, to buy out Clubhouse for a few $1 billion. And I think that same trend also is being replicated in India. And since you guys are, represent majority of the short video content or short video platforms, is consolidation the way to go? And do you see consolidation happening in near future?
I think we're too early at this phase of this category and this ecosystem for consolidation to happen. There will be consolidation across categories, right? Like an OTT and stuff, but there's a long way to go. I think each of us still needs to be able to grow to a threshold level, be able to anchor our differentiation, be able to offer products, etc. I think that's why we're all in the business, right? It's about being able to offer this vast audience and the three pillars or stakeholders that I mentioned, something that's different, something that we think adds value to the proposition that they're seeking for. So I think, yes, currently there's enough space for the number of people that we are. I think we're all trying to differentiate ourselves, and over a period of time, it will, while everyone sees the initial, content, that similarities, but there will be growth and differentiation over a period of time. All of us have got our own power users and hoppers as well, right? And that's what we're looking at, and I think each one of us has been able to show that we have a very, very different path to be able to appease all three stakeholders as well.
Interesting. One last answer from any of you.
I think the consolidation piece, I agree with what Viraj said. It's still too early to talk about that, but I think it might just end up taking extremely non-conventional paths, and consolidation may happen to drive synergies with very diverse partners.
Yeah.
And I think, and the reason I say that is because Glance and Reposo, for example, are fairly different value propositions, but have very, very high synergies. And so I think that's an interesting sort of lens to look at the overall market from.
Interesting. Good. I think a pretty engaging conversation. Let's move to a few rapid fire questions for all of you. To save time, we'll start with Bimal, followed by Avinash, followed by Viraj, followed by Shivank, and followed by Devika. Right. The first question. Right. Name a trend that started on short video platforms like a Dalgona Coffee. Your favorite trend?
Oh my God. Okay. It's a rapid fire, right? I'm too bad at this. Yeah. Can I exchange my name to the last?
All right. Starting with Avinash.
There's nothing that comes to mind. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking of a couple of campaigns that we did long back for 80 brands, and we did hashtag challenges, and it actually worked. For numbers, we were doing 500 million. Looking at the master and saying what's happening.
I remember one challenge on TikTok in US. They were using this coin with the socket, and they were short circuiting the entire place. I don't know why it went viral. Crazy trends out there.
Crazy. Viraj, Shivank, Devika.
I can't think of a campaign specifically, but yeah, I think it's, the explosion of just scale of engagement is something that, the short video ecosystem is brought to the table today. At a very short span of 3 days and 5 days to be able to engage on 1 billion, 2 billion numbers, which is, I don't even know how many zeros that comes into, is something that just never seen before, right? So for me, it's just that how this new ecosystem has evolved, and how the fact that you've been able to suddenly bring in a whole bunch of people who are aspirational to become $1 million earners over a period of a year and a half.
Yeah.
Hey, Shrenik, I lost you in between. So what's the question there?
Tell me your favorite hashtag challenge, or tell me your favorite campaign which has gone live in the last 1 year.
I think one of the
trends. Yeah, Shivank, followed by Devika.
In metro or across?
Across.
Okay. I think, of course, everybody can talk about it. It's Pauri Ho Rahi Hai, for example, a hashtag challenge that has gone just out of bound. So I think this is the power of, the social media, whereas there is no boundaries, when we talk about Pakistan, it's always in the negative light, but this trend actually brought two neighboring countries together altogether. So I think social media platform has a lot of power to bring in different parts of the world together.
Interesting. Devika?
Yeah, Shivank took my answer. I was also thinking about Pauri Ho Rahi Hai. But that was significant.
What's a challenge? What's a challenge, guys? Where there's this shadow challenge that they do. I mean, I'm just looking at multiple platforms. It's all music. I think even Justin Bieber's new Peaches campaign, it went viral. Everyone's dancing to it. I think, yeah, the music industry is the first to adopt trends. At least when it comes today, I see a lot of challenges happening. Yeah, a lot of entertainers here today in India too.
Interesting. Interesting.
I'm
Next
sorry,
up.
but I'll have to cut this a little short because we are out of time and
Okay. Okay.
have to move to the next set of.
Let's have one quick question. So TikTok created this unique entertainment need and the category. How about a quick thank you or a quick unique thank you message? If you think the category the brand deserves a thank you. Any two of you quickly.
Sorry, what was the question?
So TikTok created this entire creator universe, creator ecosystem. How about a quick thank you? If you think the brand deserves a good thank you. They had a good run in India. Come on.
Yeah,
Of course they did. They did a
brand,
fabulous
the
job.
brand definitely. They're having a great run across the globe, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we saying thank you or not, they are a phenomena for sure. So yes.
I think the
Interesting.
best form of thanks is the fact that we're all sitting here building on what they brought. Well,
Super.
at least to the country.
Super. Cool. Thank you. I think
Thank you so much.
I'll just leave with one comment and the question about TikTok also, and directed to all my fellow panelists who have their own apps doing so. What TikTok did was, gave us millions of creators. But what hasn't happened is gratification from them, apart from individual people getting money from the brand. I remember way back in 2017-18, Filmfare started an award for Facebook movies. So there's no gratification. There is no, maybe that could be a differentiator. I do not have a platform to celebrate the content these guys are creating. And that's why at times it gets brushed under the carpet saying, "Nahi, ye to wo hai jab I need to pass time." So if you're able to create a platform, I don't know, anyone can pick it up, easier for the bigger players. But if I, do a film festival or smaller ones, why not? It's just that it will give me more variety of content than a hashtag challenge that makes me do the same move 100,000 times, let's say.
interesting.
Maybe.
Good. I think it was a wonderful conversation. I got to learn a lot, and I'm sure the audience also. I'm sorry we couldn't take up questions. I can see a few messages. We'd be happy to kind of take up the questions offline. We all are available on LinkedIn to answer your questions. Thank you everyone for spending time. It was a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye. See you.